6 minutes past 11 a.m. Good morning and welcome to the maiden edition of the Women's Take here on 3FM 92.7. I'm your host, Natalie Fort. Now, this show is supported by Star Ghana Foundation and its partners. Here on the Women's Take, we seek to create a platform that's dedicated to highlighting the impact of our women on governance in Ghana. Throughout the show, we'll be engaging with leading women in governance, politics, and leadership, with the aim of mining the wisdom of our women candidates. And today I'm very glad to be joined in the studio by Madam Brigitte Dzogbenuku. She's the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party. Madam Dzogbenuku, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on your maiden edition. I think we are making history.
We are making history.
Yes, and well done.
Thank
it's a
you.
good show. You've shown leadership, and thank you for recognizing the Ghanaian woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Yeah. So, over the years, we've had many leading women who've contributed, and then others like you who seek to contribute to governance in Ghana. Mm-hmm. It's a very critical role. Now, first of all, could you briefly just tell us a bit about yourself? Let us know who you are.
Okay. My name, as you said, is Brigitte Dzogbenuku. I am a daughter of retired and deceased army officer.
Okay.
And my mother is Christine Dzogbenuku, who was a mother and a carer and a housewife.
Nice.
She still is with us.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
I'm the last of 5 children. There's Marilyn, Charles, Alex, Theodore, and me.
Okay.
I went to Wesley Girls High School and University of Ghana. University of Ghana, I studied languages, so I speak Swahili and French.
Lovely.
Minimal French, a lot more of Swahili because I actually spend more time. I mean, I get by with French, but I speak more fluent Swahili because I lived in Tanzania and I went back to work there.
Okay.
I've lived most of my life in Ghana. I'm completely Ghanaian. And I come from the Volta region, as my name boldly implies.
Yes, it does.
From the Afaja to South district, from a traditional area called V.
Okay.
So V has 8 towns, and one of the towns is Kolemu, and that's where I come from.
Nice.
Yes.
Lovely. So
I am a mother.
You're a mother, yes. I was just about to get to
I
that.
have a teenage son.
Okay. How old exactly is he?
16.
Nice.
And yes, I am a sportswoman. I've been a sportswoman all my life. So currently, I'm a member of Accra Lawn Tennis Club, and that's where I play a lot of my sports tennis. But I also have a walking group called JB, just because. And we walk together in Legon on Saturday mornings.
Nice. Every Saturday, religiously.
We try.
Most Saturdays.
We try. Depends on what Friday night brings.
Absolutely. I get that. So, you said you grew up, family of 5.
Grew up in the barracks. Throughout my life, throughout most of my childhood until about age 19 or 20, we lived in various barracks, if there's anything, various camps.
Yeah.
As far back as my memory can serve me, I think I have fleeting or very blurred memories of Takrady in early 70s. And then we moved to Tamale. Those were my most vivid memories of the barracks life, or my earliest memories. So I started nursery school in Tamale, and for some reason, recently, the food that we were given in the nursery school keeps coming back to me.
Okay.
And it's things you experience that come back to you as memories. So scents or feelings come back. And one of the things that comes back to me is the scent of the food.
Okay.
And when it comes to me, I then realize we were being served a lot of burnt food. But I loved it.
You did at the time.
The flavor of the burnt beans and the
Tasted
beans
good.
we used to eat, or the flavor of the burnt banku.
Okay. Dzogbenuku, wow.
And probably very watery groundnut
Oh
soup.
my.
But
Well, you're fine. You're here now and looking
yes,
good. So.
I mean, I'm not complaining. So I loved it.
Yes.
I loved the food. I remember they used to make us what we used to call tinapa stew.
Okay.
And up until today, I love tinapa stew.
Okay.
You know, so
I'd
it
like
must
to
have
try
been
it
something
sometime.
good.
Certainly.
So that's why I started nursery school.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
Okay.
And then we came to Burma camp and I did class 1 in, I keep saying 2 schools,
Okay.
because my father took me from one which was farther from home, and then brought me to the one that was closer. So I
Yeah.
did Forces Primary and Complex for
Sure.
class 1. And then
Lovely.
we were moved again to Takrady.
Okay, lots of moving, I see. A
Yes,
bit of moving, yeah.
the army life.
Yeah, true.
You know, my father was a dedicated army officer. He loved what he did, and so we went along. I mean, if we
With
had to
him,
move,
yeah.
then we had to move. So
Absolutely.
I did stay in services primary. It was stage, so we did stages 2. I did stages 2 to 4, 3 years. Yes, in services primary.
Okay.
And then we came back to Burma camp, and I did class 5 and 6 in Kotoka Primary, Burma camp. And then I went to Wesley Girls. Those were the days that the public schools were good,
Were
were
good,
as
yes.
competitive
As the private ones.
as the private
Yeah.
ones. So we you know entered. I went to Wesley Girls, Form 1 to 6,
Sure.
and then I finished and went
Lovely.
to.
And we'll
Basic
certainly
and-
get into the topic of education and public and private schools a lot later, but clearly you have very fond memories of your childhood. You're into politics now. I know you've been into pageantry, etiquette, and what did you want to be growing up?
I don't think there was anything I wanted to be. I just wanted to grow up. You know, every child wants to grow up. A friend of mine said, posted on his Facebook wall, "Don't believe it. Adulthood is not fun." When you're a child, you want to be an
You're an
adult.
When you're an adult, you want to be a child.
I wanted to grow up. I knew I wanted an education. I knew I wanted to go to school. I think a long time ago, I remember my mother said to me that I used to say I want to be a queen.
A queen. Oh, a pageant
Whatever.
queen, a beauty queen.
Maybe that was it. But
Traditional, okay.
I was born in the UK, so maybe childhood memories of, you know.
The queen, yeah.
But I didn't define what I wanted to be. I knew that whatever I wanted to do, it would be to do with people. I'm a people person. And I think for most of what I have done, I've been a connector of people.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to be a doctor, for example, because I hated needles and I hated blood.
Yes.
What I knew, and as I was growing up, the fancy thing to do would be to work in a bank, but because that seemed very attractive. But for me, working in a bank seemed routine and
Monotonous.
seemed like drudgery. I needed something more fun, and I think throughout what I've done, I have chosen things that grow me or grow people or grow something. So, for example, when I was, one of my first jobs was selling bitumen. It was the first time bitumen was starting to sell by Elf, and it was just exciting to see these, ordering somebody's bitumen and then the truck going to build a road.
Wow.
When I was at SC, when I went to SC Johnson, it was about growing a brand, developing a brand. When I went to Tanzania, it was connecting people. I was a liaison officer, so I was working in the mining industry with Ashanti Goldfields at the time. But I was connecting governments and corporates because I spoke Swahili. I was there working as a liaison officer of the Ashanti Goldfields. It was very interesting seeing a mine develop from a project to a full mine.
So it's more about the ability to grow something for you.
It's the ability to grow something,
Regardless
to
of the
create
industry.
something, to develop something, and to connect people.
And to connect people.
I think I also do that a lot. For example, now with my mentoring program, I connect people. I connect young ladies to mature, experienced women. Form connections. With my oil, I have a brand, palm oil brand.
Yes.
it was with these women. They were selling it, as they say, tot by tot in the market. I've branded it. I've put it on the markets in Accra. So I've connected those women whilst they remain in their Fajato South district to Accra. I think one must identify their calling, their purpose here, and
not just a profession, but your purpose, you're saying.
Yes, I think that we box people in when you give them a profession. It's good to have a profession, but in that profession, what are you doing? What is your purpose?
That's a good one.
And a lot of us don't have purpose. A lot of us, we do have purpose, but we haven't identified it.
Yeah.
So when you haven't identified it, then you find yourself in a place where you're actually not enjoying what you're doing, but it pays. So we seem to think that we will replace the money with the joy of work. But I'm an empowerment trainer, and it says that work is love made visible.
Yeah.
Work is love made visible. So if you're doing what you're doing and you're not finding that love or that joy, you must reconsider how you can turn that into your purpose. Absolutely. You need to find your purpose first, but how you can turn it into how you can do it and enjoy doing it, or do something else
that fulfills you. So now you're into politics. You're into governance. You've done so much in the past.
Which is also connecting people.
Which is also connecting people. That's true. So that string of growth and connecting people runs through. How did you get into politics? Just share with us. Take us down memory lane. How did you get here to decide that you want to serve as the flag bearer of the PPP?
Not to sound too philosophical, but sometimes if you're meant to be, things just move you that way. So in 2008, the American Embassy, the State's Department, selected me to participate in a women's leadership mentoring program called the Global Women's Leadership, Global Women's Mentoring Partnership, where a few of you a few women from various developing countries were selected to be paired with women in the Fortune. So the Fortune 500 companies, the women leaders in those areas were paired with them to be our mentors. And it took all kinds of form. There was a bit of personal mentorship, there was a bit of professional mentorship, there was a bit of business mentorship. So for 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks, we were in the US with these women, and we took part in this women's leadership program. And for me, I kept it as that. I didn't connect it to anything at the time. But thinking back, I realized that was when I set off on this path of women's leadership, not necessarily a politician, but women's leadership. And when I came back, I started my mentoring program with the young ladies who have since 2008, we've had this program, an average of about 40 young girls being paired with women for mentoring.
Career guidance and the like.
Pardon?
Career guidance, mentoring.
Yes,
so
for mentoring purposes. So the point is just to make them, here again, we're connecting people. So just to make them form a relationship with each other. So we did that. We've done that for over the years. So I think that thinking back, that is where I became aware of the essence of women's leadership and what difference a woman leader could make in their communities. If for nothing at all, agency, their voices can get heard. People will hear them. And we have so much influence on everybody else as women. We don't evaluate it and we don't appreciate it, but we bring up children, we carry them, we bring them up, we see to their feeding, we see to their good health, we see to their education, and these people grow up, become
leaders, and
become citizens and leaders. So we have such a high level of influence, but we don't think about it, as caregivers, so. That program in 2008, as I went on it, I started to realize, and funny enough, I went to understudy Donna Orenda, who was the president of the WNBA at the time.
Okay.
The WNBA is the Women's National Basketball Association. At
And you played
Aviation
basketball.
Social Center, basketball was a very small part of the business. So initially I wondered why. But through that, I noticed that even through sports, women make such a big impact. Do you know that most of the women in the security services in Ghana are there by virtue of the fact that one of the criteria is to
Be active in sports.
to be a sporty person, to be play a sport.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes. And when you go and watch, and I'll ask you if you like, go by the prison's basketball or handball courts one evening and watch the confidence and the strength with which some of these women play sports, So that made me realize, and it wasn't so much to become a politician, but to say that I also have a voice, I also have agency, I also can change something.
Certainly.
And that is where it started for me. I came and started this mentoring program, but in 2014, I was one of the voices on the Occupy demonstration. So then again, I just had something to say. I felt something needed to change.
Yeah.
And I left my home. I wasn't one of the organizers of Occupy. I wasn't part of Occupy. But I went on the demonstration and I had something to say and I said it. And I got heard.
Yes, you got
And obviously got seen as well. So I think following that, I was a lot more vocal on social media and expressing my views and my misgivings and my disagreements with certain policies or decisions that were not taken.
Yeah.
And I think it was through that the PPP thought, well, this can be a voice we can use. And then they asked me.
So you just adjust the paths. You were just led there. It wasn't an intentional step, you were saying, to
Yes. I think that I'm still along that path where connecting people, starting new things, development, women's leadership, and all that. If by virtue of all those I've become a politician, then that is what I have become. But it is still through
the passion
pursuing
still
this
remains.
agenda,
Certainly.
of the purpose that I'm on.
Absolutely. Now, if you just joined us, you're listening to The Woman's Take here on 3FM 92.7, where we seek to engage women in governance, politics, and leadership and mine the wisdom of our female candidates. This program is supported by Star Ghana Foundation with funding from FCDO and the European Union. And I'm having in the studio Madam Brigitte Dzogbenuku. She's the flag bearer of the PPP. Now, we've spoken a lot about your life as a child, about your journey to politics. I just wanted to touch briefly, before we move to the more policy-related issues of the PPP, some of the societal stereotypes that exist. We're all privy to them with regards to women. Who supported you, who challenged you throughout this journey of wanting to become president? I don't think your entire, family, relatives were all in support.
No, initially not. I think if my family was not, if any member of my family was not in support, it was out of love. It wasn't out of malice,
Yeah.
It's out of love and trying to protect you and, making sure that you're not embroiled in anything hurtful to you. But generally, they've all been very supportive. My family, especially, everybody has been very supportive. Members of the party, of course, have been very supportive. My friends, a lot of my friends, my mates in Legon, my mates in Wesley Girls High School, especially now, my JB mates, my walking mates, everybody has been very, very supportive. The good thing about the people around me is, regardless of what party affiliation they have, there's still that support to say, go for it, you can do it, possibly based on the relationship I have with them and who they know me as. So I've had support from all over, even my church, in 2016, the roads to acknowledge and all that. So
and your son?
My son probably has dreams of living in Jubilee House. So
So he's
But
in
yes,
full
he's been
support,
supportive. In
yes.
fact, we got him to do a little work
Wow.
in the party. So he's been very supportive as well, including his friends. They are not ready to vote yet, but hopefully, when they are old enough to vote, I'll still be in the race and they will vote for me. But yes,
It's good to know he's in support. It's important.
yes,
Yeah,
it is. Yes.
absolutely. Now let's go into. We're in an election year. We have a few days, in fact, to the elections. I know you've been out campaigning. You've begun that. You've begun your tour of the Greater Accra region. You visited Nima, Kaneshi markets. What has been the experience been like so far for you? This is your first time as the flag bearer of the PPP campaigning. Yes. What has that been like?
It's not been very different from 2016. There's a lot of support out there. I was quite overwhelmed about the number of people and the women who were, in quotes, endorsing me as one of them, as a woman, saying, yes, we want something to change. Yes, we think we can do it differently. We've had good support. We've had, some of the support is because our brass band was also very good. So that also counts for something.
Yeah.
If it's an experience that someone can remember and vote by, it's a good thing. So we've had very good response from Accra. We get good response when we come to the media, for example. We are trying to be on social media as well. There's a lot of support. People believing that it's time to do things differently. We've tried the two parties since 1992, even before some people were born. And they've come and they are just believing that is the way to go. But what we're trying to say to them is it can be done differently. And we need a new kind of leadership. So we've gotten good support. Yes.
Sure. Now I'm glad you've gotten support as you shared. However, have there been one comment or so or a certain action that has reminded you of the fact that you are a woman vying for president? I mean, we know you're a woman, but any gender-related
issue? It's not so much the political thing. It's everywhere, isn't it?
It is.
Even within your party, you'll have people who, what I say is they don't have a grasp of what it means when people want to play on your womanhood. I mean, I've had people, I have someone on social media, for example, who has said to me that, do I think politics is a beauty contest?
Wow.
And people do pass scathing and hurtful comments, but I believe that people who find time to want to say something to hurt you are probably hurting themselves. They are coming from a place of pain, and I don't blame them. We are in very, very difficult times. There's a pandemic. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of uncertainty, and then here we are going for elections. One person wants his party to win against the other. There's a lot of competition, and competition by itself is a fearsome thing. You know, it's saying to you that you're not good enough, and people have found themselves in these painful places. They must hurt someone. So
feel good.
Yes. So when people come onto my platform or any platform where I am in trying to say something hurtful, I feel compassion towards it. I wonder how much pain this person is feeling to be so scathing. And it's fine. I think that as much as I expected a lot of attacks, if you like, I'm quite impressed how far the Ghanaians have come in relation to women wanting to be in leadership. Yes, we do have a long way to go, but we have come a long way as well. Gone are the days where some of these women who went ahead of us, the Teresa Tegos, the Hawa Yakubus, even those women who were made ministers early on in the PNDC era and all that, they didn't have an easy time. They were called names, just by being strong and standing their ground. And I think bit by bit we are chipping away at that notion that a woman must not seek leadership. So when these comments come, yes, it's still people who need to deal with their own stuff.
It doesn't get to you in any way.
It does get to me. There's no doubt. Okay. But I deal. I try to rationalize it or try to understand where that person is coming from.
Sure. Now, this is to the audience out there. You're live here on the Women's Take, and you can get interactive with us on our WhatsApp line. Send us any comments and questions. It's 020-626-9860. And remember, we're running this program, the Women's Take, here on 3FM 92.7 on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12 a.m. Now, we have 3 female candidates in this race. It's yourself. We have Nana Kunedu Ajman Rawlins. We have Ikea Donko. Have you had any engagement with them so far?
Very little. Nana Kunedu, I spoke to in 2016 when we both parties were disqualified, and we had an interaction there. I also met her. And spoke to her at Jubilee House when the pandemic hit us, and the president called us to come together and think about how the pandemic, completely political gimmick, because we were not involved at all in dealing with the pandemic in the end.
The person called you to engage and to suggest ways in
he
which
said
it can
the
be
pandemic
handled.
had no political colors, so we should come and suggest to them how.
You didn't see it as a good move to engage you?
Well, it was talk, but where was the action? Because this government did get a lot of support from the World Bank and all that, but it would have been nicer if they had followed that up with maybe saying you also go and help with. I mean, I think that there was a lot of talk about how the pandemic alleviation seemed to go to just political party supporters. And I think all Ghanaians support one political party or other. And if it was going to go that way, I think it should have been spread out so that all of us who were called there to give ideas or to support could have helped in reaching all areas of Ghana. But I guess it wasn't that way. So I just saw it as just,
as a gimmick, as just a political move.
Yes, and it wasn't expressed in any other form. So yes, that is the way I saw it.
That's the way you saw it.
But I have had interactions.
Some level of engagement with her, but not Ikea Donko as
not
much.
Ikea Donko. I saw her. I ran into her once at the EC, but we didn't talk. I just acknowledged her. I wouldn't speak to each other. No.
Now, talking about Ikea Donko, she, founder and leader of the Ghana Freedom Party, she said that should she win the December 7 polls, her administration will make the law courts operate in Twi. As you know, she's most fluent in Twi. Just picking your thoughts on that idea by her.
I don't find anything wrong with that. I mean, it's a language, but I hope that if it's been if the law courts are operating in Twi, they will operate in Ewe, and they'll operate in Dagbani, and they'll operate in Ga, and they'll operate in all the other languages.
That's a lot of languages.
Well, yes, but we speak all those languages. So if you're going to do it, why should you skew it to just one language? We have all of us make up Ghana. So if you're going to break it down so not everybody speaks Twi.
But most people do.
Well, yes.
Most Ghanaians
do. But most Ghanaians speak Ewe too. And most Ghanaians speak Ga.
Yeah, that's quite a topic.
So if you're going up north to Wale Wale and you're going to assume that most Ghanaians speak Twi, there are law courts there. Are they going to understand Twi? So it won't be Twi. It would have to be a language that they understand. So if you're saying that the law courts should operate and speak our local languages in general, yes, that's a good thing. And maybe that's what she means. She just didn't express herself right. and I hope that that is what it means.
They're all included. Now let's move to the PPP manifesto.
Yes.
Yes, and I was reading through it, and paragraph 2.1 of the manifesto, as you put it, as a political platform, it speaks to youth empowerment, and there's a strong emphasis on jobs, job creation, specifically and in a tangible manner. How would you and your administration go about creating jobs?
I think that the jobs exist but have not been capitalized on. I'll say this. I think that a couple of weeks ago, last week or so, I heard and actually went to the website where the Ghana Statistical Service was saying that about 31% of the population of workers are into agric.
31%.
31%. Now, the whole country of Ghana is agric-based. Most of Ghana is fertile. We grow all kinds of things. What we have done is we have made agric remain very primary and not developed it or mechanized it. Our farms, first of all, need to be mechanized. But first of all, there is production on all these parts, but there's no accessibility. We cannot access a lot of our farms in Ghana. So what we have is we have people producing and it going to waste or it rotting. And therefore, the farming, the agro-business has not been made as attractive as it ought to be.
So in accessibility, you're referring to there being roads to get to these various farms, yes?
One thing we have in Ghana is we have all these highways that have been left abandoned, halfway constructed, and all that. We have what we call the national highways. The national highways start from N1 to N18. We haven't even recognized them. We know we have the N4 and we have the N1, but it goes all the way to N18. And they run north and south of the country and east and west. These are highways that go from districts to district or district capitals to district capital or regional capitals in some areas. One of such roads is, for example, the Eastern Corridor, which I think is the N2 or so, running from the south all the way along the Volta to the north, which since 2011 has been left in a state. There's another one along the Western Corridor, which is called the Western Corridor, runs across. There's one, the N1, which we have, runs from Elubo all the way to, from Aflao all the way to Elubo. So all these roads exist, which we must construct and expand on. We must dualize and make them interregional highways. That will give us access to the whole of the country and open up the country to business and to investment. That will give us access to the farms and how we can invest in them and mechanize them. Mechanized farming, therefore, makes the industry attractive. Then we can think about value addition. I always use my example of my palm oil. By the way, the women who do my palm oil are along the Eastern Corridor. I know that they've gone and done up just that very portion of where these women are. I wonder why, but we thank them.
Yeah.
And these women, there's palm fruits grown there. And these women process the palm fruits into edible palm oil. Very good quality. Very, not because I said it, but it's very good quality.
Okay.
And they were stuck there in that area, processing their palm fruits, taking it to their small market on Fridays. If it sells, fine. If it doesn't sell,
It goes
they keep it and then suddenly it starts to go rancid.
Yeah.
Now, if we have access to all these areas in the Bongo and Hafo region, for example, we have cashew. In the north, we have shea. we have cocoa growing areas, we have tourism in the Volta region, but accessibility is a problem. Giving access to all these areas immediately creates jobs for people.
So with your job creation plan, it's first accessibility.
First accessibility. Then, of course, the investment. We must invest in mechanized farming. I'll tell you for a fact. And of course, research into agric, because my women produce their oil manually. And if we are thinking about value addition, processing, the pounding of the digesting of the palm, the pressing of the pulp, the churning of it, the cooking of it, it requires investment into building that industry. Therefore, it will require more people to be employed, more hands in the bottling, in the packaging, in the branding, all that. And this is just agribusiness. There are other areas where it's not agribusiness. For over 100 years now, we've been mining gold. We have no refinery. We take the gold out to refine it, and then we process it and bring it back as jewelry, which we buy. When it can be done here, my very good friend, may her poor soul rest in peace, was a jeweler, a woman.
A Ghanaian woman.
A Ghanaian woman. We have PMMC, and we can have so many others like them if we had a refinery here. And not that, but that would provide, not only that, it would provide jobs to the people. The gold mining areas, if we were not so selfish or greedy about it, Galamsey would not be killing us. Yes, they say we are into community mining now, but have we put the regulations in place so that it will indeed employ? The youth are into it. It will employ more of the youth. That is what we should do. Put the regulations in place, regulate Galamsey into ethical means and mining, so that it will provide jobs for the people, And those are some of the things. But apart from that, training, skills, it starts from our education. If you look in our manifesto, we are really big on education. Yes, free SHS. For me, free SHS, whilst it's a good thing, it feels to me as if it's just churning out people to say they've passed through the education system. Yes, there's access, but where is the quality? We in the PPP, when we come to power, want to do the free compulsory universal basic education. And our emphasis is on the compulsory, because currently as we speak, a lot of children are not in school, of school-going age, from the kindergarten level all the way to JHS. We have a lot of kids not being in school. And even for those who are in school, the World Bank did a survey at class 6, primary 6, a lot of them cannot read or write. And yet, we pass them through, they go to JHS after 3 years, we want to test them. And it's almost as if we are just training kids for exams to pass. We don't want to train kids just to pass exams. We want to skill them.
So what will be different? You say yours is going to be free as well.
It's going to
but
be
it's
free
going to be compulsory
from kindergarten.
Okay, from
all the way through to SHS. It's going to be compulsory. Children must be all children of school.
How will you see to it that that's happening?
When we say it, people laugh. But yesterday I was asked a question. We will institute education police. We will have a division of the police for education.
How will they operate?
It is that important to us. Well, police are out there watching out. If they see children who are not in school, they will send them back to school.
Do these include children on the streets selling?
Yes, children on this. They have parents.
They do, yeah.
And the parents must ensure that their children are enrolled in school. It's free. Why aren't your children in school? Our one of the basic skills, driving, requires that you have BEC minimum. We have people who don't have that, and they are on our roads.
Many.
I have dealt with drivers who can't read road signs. I have dealt with drivers who cannot read the buttons in my car. Push on that which says this. He can't read. So what I'm saying doesn't make sense. And these people, we put the lives of 40 people, 50 people in
At
a bus
risk.
in their hands. And therefore, it translates into what we have on our roads. So, education is priority. It is the most important. And if we say, look, police has divisions. The police have DOFSU. The police have MTTU. The police have different divisions. It is priority, and it is good for us to have a division that is working with the Ghana Education Service to say, your children must be in school as long as they are of school-going age. And that is what we are going to enforce. Now, when they have finished, right now we have BEC. We are saying we will take out BEC. It is more important for the schools to be complete and standardized. Complete by saying that the children, I spoke a lot about my sports. I was a sportswoman, and I've worked with it. And security services chooses women. One of the criteria is that they play sports. And we have schools these days, we build a 6-classroom block, no toilets, no kitchen, no sports facilities. And we say we've built a school. The schools must be complete with all these facilities because I'm sure you've heard the saying, mens sana in corpore sano. A healthy body makes a healthy mind. And therefore, the children must be schooled in sporting as well. You know, sports playing is not just fun. Sports playing is actually also apart from health, it is also a way to teach children discipline, sportsmanship, good attitude, and teamwork.
Yeah, there are a lot of other skills that are developed through sports, I agree.
And all these things, how to play fair, a certain respect of one another.
And these are applied to the world of work as well, subconsciously.
So that should start from that stage. And yet we have schools that have no sporting facilities.
Sure. But tell me some more about the BCE, which you say you plan on ending.
Ending BEC, because BEC, apparently every year, BEC cuts out about 100,000 children. You failed. That's it. That's the end of your education at age 15. What are you doing to that poor child who seems to feel that they are not good enough at age 15? So we are saying that standardized education, like I told you, what we experienced. If you took me out of Kotoka Primary at the time, in those days the private schools were Northridge Lyceum, Christ the King, Rich Church and all that, and you took me straight out of there and put me in Christ the King, I fit in perfectly because the education was standardized. It didn't matter that my parents could pay or not. We ensured because there were inspectors who did their work. So they were not just inspectors in name. The Inspectorate Division of GES went round and ensured that people remained in school. And at each stage, the school itself was teaching the children what they were required to know at that age. Now, the teachers were made to work. They themselves were assessed and trained at each point, so that the teaching profession was no longer about teacher trainee allowances, or didn't remain at the level of teacher trainee allowances. The teaching profession was about also giving. It was a calling. It was a purpose. It was love made visible. You know, and we look back on our teachers from those days and we love them because they were dedicated to what they were doing. Because maybe they were paid on time. Maybe they were given certain perks that made them feel appreciated.
Exactly.
Now, if you have a teacher, when we say complete schools for the PPP, for example, we say we want to build complete schools. This includes teachers' bungalows, where teachers live near the school, so that when you transfer a teacher from Accra to Laura, he knows that when I go, I'm not going to live in a bat-infested rented apartment and cannot pay my rents because there's bats, or cannot pay my rents because my salary is not coming out in time. I am going to live in bungalow so that I can also give of myself effectively. And that is what we talk about, complete school compounds, with teachers' facilities, with kitchens, with sporting facilities, and with full teaching and classroom blocks, ensuring that the teachers are well trained and the children are standardized, so that it is not BEC at the end of 15 years or 9 years that is then going to say you are done with school, you can't go on anymore.
Going to determine what
but you are
doing.
Continuously being assessed and standardized until you make your way into SHS.
So talking about education, let's just touch briefly on what your and your administration's plans are with regards to uncompleted schools and educational infrastructure. We see
It's not only with schools, with housing, with whatever projects are underway, we will finish them. It is not one party or one administration's pocket money that is being used for these things. It's the Ghanaian taxpayers' money. And when we come and because of the ego of our party, we decide that, we're not going to complete this because it is going to be credits to someone else. It is unfair on
it's
the
for the Ghanaian people at the end of the day.
Yes,
Really.
it's unfair on the Ghanaian people whose taxes are going to do this. It's unfair on the Ghanaian people who need affordable housing. So we want to come and we will finish those buildings that are unfinished. Interestingly, the National Development Planning Commission has plans of schools, designs of complete schools. And when you see them, you'll marvel and ask if this is supposed to be in Ghana. But those plans are there. And because of political expediency, we have two parties that are building something to show for providing education. But it doesn't answer the question of quality. It's answering the question of access. And indeed, a lot of them are unfinished. So when all the time we are trying to show that we have made school education accessible, thank you very much, you have.
It's just one thing
what
tackled,
is going on in there?
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of graduates are we
churning
out to say we have done this? Between you and I, all the time we see students who are being questioned or who are being recorded and put on WhatsApp, and we laugh. But it is no laughing matter. This is the human resource of Ghana. One day, a young girl from Domahinkro or from Ve, if you like, would like to be sitting behind the mic like you, or would like to say, I want to be president of this country. And we won't make fun of her, And I commend Ekuadonko. It's very bold of her. There was another parliamentarian who, unfortunately, her party lost her seat. Adjoa Say or Ama Say. Fantastic woman. She didn't speak much English, but she was very much in grasp of the issues. And she was a woman in parliament, and she was dynamic. I know her because I took my mentoring young mentees there, and we sat with the parliamentarians, and she said, "Make her tree," and she spoke her tree, but she made her points. Her people liked her, and that is the agency that we give women when we educate them to some extent, or give them the power to also participate in our political process.
Certainly. Now you're live here on 3FM 92.7. And I'm Natalie Fort. This is the Women's Take. I'm interacting with Madam Brigitte Dzogbenuku. She's the flag bearer of the PPP. I'm going to read out a few comments that we've received. It says, I wish Madam all the best, and I'm happy for her, simply because I realize she's contesting not to challenge the men in governance, but rather to pursue an agenda to have something changed.
Thank you.
These days, you see women trying to challenge men without having tangible goals to achieve. Once again, I wish you all the best. God bless you, from Uriah.
Please remember to announce time, 10 a.m.
Another says, this is the opportunity for the women in Ghana to give the PPP and Madam Brigitte the opportunity to lead this country. She knows exactly what she's about. She stands tall among other female candidates. I'll surely vote for Madam Brigitte. Ghana must work.
Thank you.
That's quite nice. Hi, Natalie. I'm enjoying this talk. I'm really impressed with the flag bearer of the PPP. We should learn more from her and also give her the chance to turn the situation of our country around. Abby from Caswell. Knowledge is power indeed. She's well learned and knows what she's talking about. Prince from Tema. We've been waiting so long for a leader like this. Women are the future, truly. I would like to be mentored by you, as well as how do I join your group of mentees, so we can discuss that.
We're on
briefly.
mentoring. We're on Facebook. We're on Facebook.
Okay.
Mentoring Women Ghana.
Mhm.
But our website is www.mwghana.org. So if she wants to, she can join the Facebook page. I'll go and accept her.
Okay, lovely. So remember, this show, The Woman's Take, is supported by Star Ghana Foundation with funding from the UK's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, that's FCDO, and the European Union. You can keep getting interactive with us on 020-626-9860. This show is going to be run on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now we have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Hello, good morning. My name is Kwesi.
Hi, Kwesi.
I just called to say that I think that those were great conversations on the show. And then
Can't hear.
I don't know how possible it will be, but I think it would be good if we have a female president. I mean, we've seen lots of men take over the affairs of the country for a long time, and I mean, it's not the best of results. For me, I'd gladly vote for Madam Dzogbenuku to be president. I think that would be a good sight to see. So all the best to her.
Thank you.
And well done too.
That's lovely. Thanks so much for calling. So clearly, it just buttresses what you said earlier, that Ghanaians are becoming more open to women in leadership.
Yes. I'd like to also say that I thank them. I like the comments I've got. But we cannot have that third force without Ghanaians believing that this is what they want and actually going to vote for that third force. I get a lot of, oh, yes, God will bless you, God will do it, God will do it. But God can only do it through you. And if you are hearing that voice that God is telling you to go and do it, go and vote. To show that it is time for that third force. It is time for things to change. And it is a sign that you also want something different. We cannot expect to get that different thing if we keep doing things the same old way.
Madam Brigitte Dzogbenuku, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Time is up.
It is. It ran out so quickly.
Oh,
It
wow.
didn't feel like an hour. But thank you. Thank you for serving
you
as our
too.
first guest on the
Thank
maiden
you.
edition of The Woman's Take.
Very well done. I must commend you
Thank
too.
you.
You sound older than you look on the phone and all that, which is a good thing. It's a compliment.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to make you sound old.
No problem.
Like me.
No, you aren't old. You don't look old.
I am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank you.
very much. And thank you
if
all.
I can also
Yes.
say something
Yes,
to
please.
the youth.
Yes.
It is your future.
Mhm.
It's time for you to change things. Look, the two parties are still playing, as my sister puts it, age-old politics. It's old. A lot of you don't even know of the PNDC era. We must move forward. We must move away from age-old politics, CPP. Yes, it's good to know your history, but there's a future. And that is what we should work towards. As the saying goes, nobody drives forward looking in their rear view mirror. You must move forward. So you, the youth, look towards your future and vote towards that.
And be bold enough
not
to
your
take
past.
that change, right? Thank you so much yet again. And thank you all for listening to the very maiden edition of The Women's Take here on 3FM 92.7. The show is supported by Star Ghana Foundation with funding from FCDO and the European Union. It's going to be live every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We interacted with Madam Brigitte Dzogbenuku, the flag bearer of the PPP. I'm Natalie Ford. Stay with us here on 3FM. Midday News continues.